good morning, good morning, good morning, St. Kitts and Nevis. Good morning to the Leeward Islands. Good morning, OECS. Good morning, Caribbean. Hey, while we're at it, we might as well say good morning to the entire universe. And we also have to say good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are, because yes, it is morning here, 9 past 10 here at WinFM 98.9, broadcasting from Unit C24 in the Sands Complex in Bastia, St. Kitts, in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. But in some countries, it is already evening, it is already night, and really, in some countries, today is yesterday, and today is also tomorrow. So whatever is applicable to you, we say good morning. Ah, boy, we have our first caller on the line. Let us go live and lively. Good morning, caller. Welcome to Voices. You're live and you're opening the button.
Yes, Biff, it's me again. Yes. Well, earlier on the previous program, I asked a question. If, as it is said, there are documents before the Prime Minister for him to sign. And I asked the question, if he was to be enticed with monies to sign it, large sums of monies to sign it, if he have the strength and the virtue not to take that bribe? That's a question I would love to ask. But also concerning the Destiny project. Another thing, well, I've mentioned it before and I'm going to mention it again. Since they are going to be paid, well, if it comes true, they will be paying lesser taxes than the rest of the Federation, because they will be having their own tax regime and that sort of stuff. Now, with that being the case, that would put businesses in St. Kitts and Nevis at a great disadvantage to the Destiny project, because once they're paying lower taxes, that means they will be able to sell the things for less. And selling the stuff for less, because they're paying less taxes compared to the rest of the Federation, that would help in crippling businesses in St. Kitts and Nevis, because people would go there to buy stuff. So I don't think they're going to stop you from coming there to spend your money. Money is money. You know, you may not be wanted over there to live in the area, but I don't think they're going to stop you from coming to spend your money with them, for them to make money off of you. And not only that, even visitors, when they come here, would quicker go there to do the shopping. Once it means getting things cheaper there, they will quicker choose over there to do the shopping versus the rest of the Federation, St. Kitts and Nevis. And so in the end, even if they're paying you $10,000 a month, every citizen, it still would be that they would be gaining far more on an unlevel playing field. Now, like I said, I think what they are asking for economically, I think it should be applied to the whole Federation and not just one spot. And let us all have a level playing field. But once that isn't the case, there will be putting the rest of the businesses in the Federation to a very great disadvantage, hastening closure of businesses and that sort of stuff that are not in that zone in the Federation. So that is something else that people need to think about. And even if you're getting $10,000 or $20,000 a month, it still won't worth it, because it would, in the end, it will make you to be the tail and not the head. They would be the head. They would be controlling you. So your businesses will be going out of business. That is one issue. Another
before you
issue.
move on, Greg, to another issue, you made a point or for the items there being cheaper. I suspect they'll be cheaper because they will be attracting duty free and maybe not even
Hmm.
duty free. Maybe they may very well be VAT free. Maybe they'll only have to pay the custom service charge, which is 6%. I don't know.
Okay.
But
Okay.
the thing about it is, if they are going to, when you have an investor coming to you with a suitcase saying, Greg, I have, I don't know how many $1 million to invest. What incentives can I get? Obviously, you have to come up, well, you don't have to pay this, you don't have to pay that. Maybe electricity at a cheaper rate, etc., etc. So, can that be the case here with the Destiny that part of the things, part of the incentive would be, say, duty free? I don't know. And in which case, goods will be cheaper because they're investing how many millions, how many billions of dollars.
Well, the thing about it is that if you go that way, you're only putting your local businesses at a greater disadvantage and hastening the closure because a lot of businesses are closing now. And if you add that aspect now to the economy, you're only going to hasten it even more, putting your local business at greater risk of being closed.
And I could see that
Uh,
happen,
uh, um,
especially
um,
especially the mom and pop shop. As a matter of fact, are there mom and pop shops still existing in St. Kitts and Nevis? And if so, how many? Some may have moved to a mini mart, a supermart, or whatever you want to call it, a little supermarket kind of environment, even though the space may be small. But perhaps you're suggesting these little mini marts, supermarts, superettes, whatever, they may very well experience the squeeze and they may eventually close as well. Is that what you're saying?
well, of course, because a lot of them are closing even right now. Even when they used to work in land revenue, used to be getting documents of a lot of closure of businesses in St. Kitts and in St. Kitts really. So that is happening, but I would think the rate of closure would even increase.
Okay.
Um, but you see, but the thing is that that is not the proper way to go in giving certain investors certain privileges. The proper way to go is to lower the taxes or whatever for everybody, okay? And therefore make your federation to be a lot more competitive to other countries and islands so that that alone would attract investors from overseas and domestic as well to be investing in St. Kitts because they would say, hey, I stand to make more in St. Kitts than these other countries. That is the way to go. Not to give certain businesses in your country some advantages over others in your country and therefore putting those who does not have those advantages to be at greater risk of closing.
You, you,
That's not the way to go.
you know,
The way
Greg,
to go is to compete with other countries.
you mentioned
Yes, sure
something.
thing.
I, in my ignorance, I believe income tax is better for a country than the VAT. Why I say that? There is VAT, and I, I am not a pair of shoes, for example. I think VAT is on that. So a pair of shoes costs $300, and when let us assume I am working for $10,000 a month, and you are working for minimum wage. Let's say you're working for $3,000 a month. When both of us go to buy that pair of shoes, both of us will have to pay the same 17% VAT. It's going to hurt you more than it's going to hurt me because
Mm-hmm.
$300 from $10,000 is not as impactful as $300 from $3,000, which is like 10%. However,
Mm-hmm.
my argument is if we were to pay personal income tax, there will be tiers. Maybe minimum wage won't have to pay that at all. persons from, let's say, $3,005 down, and I'm just giving an example to make my point, will not have to pay any income tax. And between 3, 5, and I don't know, 5,000, maybe you pay, say, 2%, I don't know. And between 5 and 8, you pay 3, and 8 to 10, you pay 5, and anything over 10,000, you pay 10%, or whatever the case is. In which case, I believe that there's a greater percentage of liquidity, your ability to spend, because you're getting minimum wage. You don't have to pay any income tax. But when we buy the same pair of shoes, all of us pay the same 17%. And that is in my ignorance. And maybe somebody somewhere could convince me why that is better. But that's just my view, because you mentioned you worked inland revenue.
Yes.
But Greg,
I used to work there.
okay, so when an investor comes and say, hey, I have, I don't know, 50 million, 100, whatever the figure is to invest, but we are talking sizable amounts. I want to invest in table tennis. I want to invest in creative economy. I want to invest in sports, whatever. And I'm thinking that the government really needs to convince people with the CBI to get involved and sponsor sports, especially table tennis. We need some place to play table tennis. So you could go 10 o'clock in the morning and carry a friend and you go and play table tennis. And I understand there's a gym in St. Kitts, and I like the idea, where you can go, once you sign up for that gym, you can go 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning to work out. Because a few mornings I see my son going to the door 2 o'clock and 3 o'clock. I get frightened. I ask, why is that going on? Where you heading this kind of time? He tell me he going gym. I say, start to think he's losing it, because this is like 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning. And gyms have it this time, yeah. There's a gym I could go. It's open 24/7. I have a card and I go in. And I like it because I could be in there and nobody disturbing me. So, etc. So we need something like that for table tennis. You could go any time of the day and night, because you might be walking nights. You could go in the day. You might be walking days, so you could go in the night. And perhaps this is a way to channel persons investing in citizen by investment into sports, into creative economy. But getting back to the investors, so I'm coming with how many millions, how many billions. What would you suggest the government do as incentives for me?
Well, that's what well, I've said it before. Number one, I think the best situation, if we don't have both VAT and personal income tax, I think that's the best of our situation. No, what I'm saying is that if your country have a lower cost of living, a lower cost for doing business and that sort of stuff, automatically that become a great attractment to bring in investors, and not just bring in investors, but also, more importantly, for local investors as well to be coming on the scene. Because when Pam won the government in 1980, and when they got rid of the personal income tax, the economy boosted. Local businesses, small businesses flourished increasingly, creating jobs and all sort of stuff. So that is what you really want. You really want to have, at the very least, well, I believe in the Bible where that taxation should be 100% voluntarily. But at least minimally, the less your taxes are in the country, is the more it is an incentive for both local and, most importantly, local, but also overseas investors to be coming into your country, to invest in your country. Now, I more believe that the more local investors we have, the better it is, because you are enriching your people by the more local investors you have, and I think that's the best way to go. Okay? But once your country, the lower your taxes are in your country, our federation, especially compared to other countries and that sort of, investors going to say, you know what? In St. Kitts and Nevis is where I stand to maximize my profit, because the taxes are lower than the other countries, and that is what you want to present to investors, both locally and from overseas as well.
But isn't it a
Not,
cash?
not you're giving them special privileges.
But isn't it a cash 22 situation, a vicious circle, a vicious cycle? Going back to where you how you introduced the topic, the Destiny Project, they're going to be having cheaper items. But when you give these tax incentives, tax breaks or whatever, then the investors can sell their products cheaper, much to the much to the detriment of the local businesses, the pop and map shop, because you have to give them something to encourage them to one invest here and two to keep the investment here for how many years.
No, but if they still see that no matter where they go, we are very competitive and you can maximize your profits here over the other countries. They're going to still come here. As a matter of fact, that is what really going to bring them here, and you don't have to give them no additional special advantages because in saying it's more than the other countries because of the low taxation, you can maximize your profit here over against the other countries. So automatically, that is what's going to attract them here like a magnet. And so therefore, both local and overseas investors will be benefiting because nobody will be locally be given any advantages over the other locally because everybody now would be able to more maximize their profits as compared to other countries and other regions because of the lower taxation. That's all you need. You don't need to give some people special advantages because you would do that to the detriment of the others, which normally the vast majority. You're going to put the vast majority of businesses at a disadvantage because they don't have that advantage like the few that you have chosen to give these special things to.
All right, Greg, I think we have to part. We have to go to a break. I thank you very much for calling. But before you go, however, the the issue you spoke about, you called in and reported on Monday. Thank you very much for doing so. I journeyed down to the ferry terminal and let me get my phone because I recorded everything. I got there 13 minutes past 1, 13:13, because after I
Mm-hmm.
left for hosting, I went and I had some breakfast. I didn't have breakfast in the morning, so after Voices on Monday, I went and I had some breakfast. And then I journeyed there. And from my little investigations, there are two bathrooms, a male and female bathroom on the eastern end, that is by the David Couey end, and both of them were locked. And I was told by several vendors, because I asked a few vendors, that these had been locked for some time. Some said since January, some said since last year. That's those are the two. Those are the two on the eastern end, and down on the
Yes.
western end, closer to the market, the female section was locked and the male was open, and the females obviously were using the male bathroom because they need to relieve themselves. And some of the female vendors there told me they had to actually leave and go places to use the bathroom and be comfortable. And even in the male bathroom, some maintenance need to be, some sanitation needs to be done because the odor wasn't the best. And the thing about it is, while I was there, it had a group of about 10 tourists and needed to use the bathroom. And the females were going into the male section, and these are tourists. And some of them saying, no, you're going to the wrong bathroom, that's the male. And then some locals there were directing, hey, no, it's okay to use the female because the male isn't working. And
No, the female isn't working.
and I must commend there was a security there, a Scasper security, and she invited them to use the bathroom in the
The male
Scasper.
bathroom.
No, she invited them to use the bathroom
Oh, yeah, yeah, yes, right, right,
in
right,
the
yes.
departure lounge. And
Yes.
I thought that was a good thing. I told her, I'm not going to call her name. I actually taught her at SEMS. She's from Newton Ground. And I complimented her highly for taking that initiative. And about three females went in there and used the bathroom within the departure lounge for the ferry. And Because my argument is when they go in these bathrooms and they don't like it, we're going to hear about it on TripAdvisors and Advisor and all of that, and it will deter visitors from coming to St. Kitts and Nevis. Of course, there's that element, and there's still the element of treating, how do you treat the locals? And could you argue with somebody, Greg, you want to defecate and the bathroom isn't working, you want to urine, the bathroom isn't working, you go behind the bars? And hold on, I'm not finished. I called Casper. The young lady put me on to an extension. It rang out. I called back, tried calling back about twice, 3 times. I didn't get through. I called back a second time. She put me on to the same extension. I didn't get through again. She said that was the assistant, what you call it, the personal assistant to the CEO. I'm thinking, well, boy, that's not something to bother the CEO with. There's somebody else down the line. But however, I kept calling back now to leave a message, tell her, hey, call Troy Biff Mills, give my numbers. I called back about 5 times. I didn't get her. I know somebody who's working at Scasper. I called him, and he told me, boy, Biff, them bathroom in a Scasper thing, you know, them tourism thing. I called the HTA, Hotel and Tourism Authority. They say, no, it's not that. It's the Ministry of Tourism. So I called the ministry, and the young lady, she said she is going to refer the matter to the permanent secretary or the minister. I'm thinking, you're serious? I appreciate the help you're trying to refer to somebody. But the permanent secretary and the minister, these guys got serious business to do for the country. And you're going to bother them, the two of them, or either of them, with a bathroom issues down the ferry terminal. But I was trying to tell her, there perhaps got to be a supervisor, manager, something else. But that was the extent. And she said that, and she's going to have somebody look at it. So, and that was on Monday, immediately after you called in and made the report, which I'm very grateful for, and thank you. So we have to wait and see how long it will take them. Yes, go ahead.
Let me ask you a question. Did you see the garbage by the Shashamani Bar area? That is just the piling up?
Sorry, yes, I did. And I also understood that there are no persons doing janitorial services there. Whoever was doing janitorial services, the cleaning, they had been fired some weeks ago. So I really don't know what's going on. And I was hearing, some of them said they're hearing that the bathrooms are going to be privatized. And I'm just reporting what I was told from my little investigation. But no matter what, in the interim, it needs to be fixed. All the issues need to be fixed.
I will tell you more, Biff. Like I said, the last time I spoke to you on this issue, the government is picking up the money. Government is who own these things. The government is picking up the money from the people, the business people, and also from us in general, to keep and to maintain their things. And the people, businesses depend on the upkeep of the restrooms. Now, if the restrooms are not upkept as they were they ought to be, then probably most likely they are losing customers. Because for me, example, I'm wondering how these people just relieve themselves and that sort of stuff. And it really discourages me to go and buy things in that area. Because I'm wondering, how are they relieving themselves and sanitizing themselves after they relieve themselves and that sort of stuff? No, this, because of the government lack of maintaining these things properly, other people probably, and I am the dullest pencil in the pack. I am the dumbest pencil in the pack.
Don't discount yourself like that, Greg. Don't discount yourself.
No, hold on. If I am such, okay, then obviously all of those who are brighter than me, I would think are having the same thoughts as well, okay? So what I'm saying is that the not being upkept by the government, these things not being upkept by the government, which the government pick up the taxes to do.
30 seconds, please, Greg.
Yeah, right. Which the government pick up the taxes to. And I believe that the government could be successfully sued by these people for the government not doing what they ought to be doing, which they are picking up the people's taxes to do. I believe the government can be successfully sued. And by extension, even with roads and that sort of stuff, where they're not properly maintained by the government, I think they can be properly sued because you're picking up the people's taxes to maintain these things. And if you're not doing it, people got injured because of however bad condition the roads are in. I think even in all of those situations, government can be successfully sued. People need to think properly. Thank you. Appreciate
All
it.
right, thank you for calling, Greg, and thank you for listening. You're listening to Voices here on WinFM 98.9. And just in case you're joining us for the first time over the last few weeks, I am Troy Biff Mills holding it down for the man, the quintessential one, Quinta Q. He is on vacation. His vacation ends in 2 days, so you're going to have me here tomorrow, God's Spear, Wednesday. And I think he comes back out on Friday. But let us make the best of it. Let us go downtown and pay some money. Stick and stay. Don't go away. We will be right back with Voices.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Do you want to know what's happening in sport? Tune into On the Ball, a weekly tour show which is on WinFM 98.9 every Tuesday from 7 to 9 p.m. with me, your host, Troy Biff Mills. We will keep you on the ball with our variety of guests and, of course, your calls, discussing the facts and the stats and sharing your opinions. Get on the ball and stay on the ball by tuning into On the Ball with Troy Biff Mills on WinFM 98.9 every Tuesday night from 7 to 9 p.m. and also on Facebook and YouTube. Be on the ball.
From the South, 98.9. Win FM.
Rams the good food people, always there to serve you. Rams the good food people, locations right near you. Rams the good food people, in-store specials for you. Rams the good food people. Rams. When you need better service, Rams is always here. Better value, better prices. Rams is always here. Rewarding your loyalty. Rams is always here. We are community. We are family. We are family. Rams for you and me. We are community. Rams for you and me.
More than 42 million cars from 19 different car companies are being recalled for faulty airbag inflators. Repairs are fast, easy, and free. The problem isn't with the airbag, it's with the airbag inflator. Because the inflator can rupture, shooting shrapnel through the airbag, which can cause serious injury or even death. Don't risk it, fix it.
Please contact TDC Automotive Division to find out if your Toyota vehicle is affected by the Takata airbag recall. Visit or call us at 465-2511 in St. Kitts or 469-5430 in Nevis.
Welcome back to Voices here on WinFM 98.9. Thank you for holding. We had to go downtown and pay some bills. You're listening to Voices here on WinFM 98.9. We have a caller on the line. Good morning, caller. You're live and lively. Go ahead.
Now, Troy,
Yes, sir.
you know, sorry, there are many levels of consciousness. Many, I think there are 7 levels of consciousness. Now, with your engagement with Greg and the issue at the bus terminal, I think you might have highlighted maybe twice that the tourists. Try, we to esteem tourists over ourselves?
No, not at all. And sorry
Okay.
if you got that impression.
Well, I mean, you emphasize on tourism and tourists, but you see, and we have a tendency to do that, and it is okay. It is okay. But, you know, we have to know our value as a people.
Correct.
Now, Troy, Monday, I want to go back to a statement that I made Monday, but before going back to that, permit me to share something with you when it comes to our consciousness and our understanding of the 2 deities we have as God and the devil. Now, follow me, Troy. God and the devil are the same. What we call God and what we call the devil are the 2 poles of one and the same energy, a universal conscious and neutral energy that polarized to experience its own creation. God is pure consciousness. The devil is the same consciousness but densified. It is not a war between 2 opposing forces like hot and cold, like light and shadow. It is not opposition, it is polarity. Hot is not the enemy of cold. They are the 2 extremes of the same thermometer. One is the other at different level of vibration. Shadow does not oppose light, it supports it. Shadow allows light to be perceived, and light gives meaning to shadow. This is the fundamental teaching of all spiritual metaphysics. Now, Troy, I have stated before that man are capable of being God and the devil. The real devil is when man forgets who we are and we ascribe to ego, the lower self of greed, lust, economics, if you will, and of such, this is the world that we are in. When we become conscious and we look at divinity and diversity, we have the planet Earth, which is everlasting life and love, and the universe as above, so below, as within, so without. We are aspect of God experiencing itself in diversity. There is no one thing that is on the planet Troy. There's no one Troy in humanity. There's no one mango tree. There's no one fig tree. So everything that is on this planet Earth is everlasting life. Because the very first trees that were there, well, they are no longer. But as the seed that fell into the earth, it sprung up, and that's the continuation of everlasting and eternal life. The same goes for humanity. Birds, fish, animals, diversity, Troy. But what we have in a book now is sacred knowledge of as to what was made in all its manifestation, life. Whether you want to say, that's, I try to share some knowledge as to the SUN being the light of the world and the SON. But what we have in a book is that the writers gave us a one deity, and we are all aspect of the source of everlasting life. And that source is life and only knows life and love. Duality came in what we now have, the devil and God. But we are all capable of being both. The question is, which are we going to apply to? And that's why I said there are many levels of consciousness, Troy. What we have in a book was given to us by the very writers who have polluted sacred knowledge, Troy, of spirit coming into flesh. Last Monday, our friend Gregory said that everything began in the womb. But here's this. Troy, take note. If you go to Jeremiah chapter 1, verse 5, what is written in Jeremiah 5 is that God saying, before you were formed and shaped in the womb, I knew you. Before you were formed and shaped in the womb, he knew you. But then surely you must have been at some other place for God to know you before you enter the womb, Troy. That's why I say we can't remember the day we were born, because spirit comes to flesh through birth. Spirit goes back to the spiritual realm through death. We were all spirit before we came flesh. And that's why the Most High said, before you were formed and shaped in the womb, he knew us. We were a part of that realm in the spiritual world. Are you following me, Troy?
Yes, I am indeed.
Well, I know maybe a lot of us are not ready for this, Troy.
That's
why
a
I
good
said,
point.
when we become conscious and when we also become race conscious, other people say that we are racist for pointing out truth. But truth is authority, Troy. You can't know and keep silent. And most of our Christian brothers and sisters, they're in a space of believing. Believe, Troy. Well, I was in that space of believing, but I am now on a journey, and there's no finality of the knowledge, Troy. Let me repeat this. I am on a journey, and there's no finality of knowledge. I am ever learning.
I think all of us should be. Once you're alive, you're learning.
Well, you see, Troy, most of us, we are stuck in the book. Get out of the book. Become the book. Because those who were before us were in alignment with the source. They never referred to it as God, but they knew there was a higher consciousness. And those who were before us, I am referring to our ancestors, because we are the first and we are the last. The last is on their way. As the book says, the first shall be last and the last shall be first. Because the last have polluted and corrupted sacred knowledge, and they are on their way. And that is why they are narcissists. All that is happening from Trump and Europe and all of them, Troy, they are on their way. And they are willing to take down as much as they can with us. Wake up, Troy. Reconnect, and remember. And you can only do that by activating the information that is in your blood, your DNA. That's the wisdom of your ancestors that is within you. The kingdom of heaven is within you, not in a book, and there is no God outside of your own self, Troy. And might I add, there is no second coming of Jesus to save you. The second coming of Jesus is when you recognize
30 seconds, please,
you,
caller.
and you understand the mystery from their misery, Troy. Thank you for hearing me.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And quite intense and quite deep. And you learn something every day. And sometimes you hear the same thing over and over, but when somebody presents it in a different perspective, you have a greater, well, I'll say understanding. Understanding, I think that's what you said, Johnny. You have a greater understanding. The Bible, religion. Yes, my mother took me to Sunday school as a small boy. I know some persons went to 2 and 3 and 4 different Sunday schools. I went to one Catholic. I think I would have gone to one or two here or there, invited by somebody, gone with somebody. But I was baptized, christened in the Catholic Church. it was the Sandy Point Catholic Church, later to become the Sacred Heart Catholic Church in SP, where they best be. And I think religion is something I'm not certain we'll ever really get a common understanding, a common consensus of. And I've made references before. The eating of pork, the Old Testament and the New Testament. You shouldn't eat of the the animal that doesn't chew the cud and part of the hoof. So you're talking about the pig, but then in the New Testament, once you bless it and you bless everything, because everything was made by God, so everything is good and you bless it and you eat it. And the Sabbath on Saturday, the Sabbath on Sunday, one religion don't go to any other churches, but they're inviting you to come to their church. I have a little challenge with that. I can't understand. And but having said all of that, reaching out, outreach, and I must commend one particular denomination because I see them around town and the Bastille, that is. When I say, and they do walk through in towns in various communities, and I see them, and they always 2 or 3 or maybe 4 of them, and I must give them kudos because they're there like from after 7. What amazes me is that they're just there. They don't really interact. They'll tell you good morning, good afternoon, and they don't say, hey, can I interest you in a magazine or whatever. I guess if you stop and you engage them, they will. But I'm always amazed with that. But it's 10:51 here on WinFM 98.9. Voices is the program. And according to Brother Bob Marley, we have so much things to say right now. One of the hot topics seemed to be the Prime Minister, Dr. the Honorable Terence Drew, saying on another radio station yesterday that he's organizing to have 100 persons travel to 5 continents, and persons are not certain what's up because when we're asked to tighten our belts, one more hole according to a Calypsonian here in the Federation, and then you're going to be having this thing happening. The Basti High School needs work, the hospital needs work, the sporting facilities, courts around the island need a lot of work. I could relate to the tennis courts in Sandy Point. I'm not saying it's only Sandy Point, but I'm from SP where the best be, and my son, he was part of a club, and the club has disbanded because the courts in Sandy Point overgrown with grass and cracks it's in an advanced state of disrepair. So a bunch of young people, they had about 10, 15, 20 of them, so they just stopped playing tennis because they don't have the facility. So that is something the government needs to look at. Let us go to the line and say good morning, caller. We lost that caller. There's another one. Let's go here. Good morning, caller. Welcome to Voices. You're live on the air.
Try quickly. This is my last input. You see all that you just outlined about the pork and the parted hoof and all that.
Yes, sir.
Now, I'm listening to you and I'm wondering why you haven't mentioned Genesis chapter 1 that says God created male and female in his image and likeness and gave us herb for meat. Genesis 1, try. Check it out from verse 25 down.
Okay, thank
you.
Herb
for meat.
Herb for meat. Okay.
Herbs for meat.
So are you suggesting then that we could not eat meat but use herb instead and it will satisfy all the body nutrients, etc.?
But try. Now, we're eating animals, and as the medical fraternities then would say, that we need proteins, animal protein. Where the animals get their protein from? Aren't they eating herbs?
The herbs, yes.
So the Creator is not the author of confusion, Troy. Genesis 1 is enough for us to go on. Now we're eating flesh today, Troy. We're eating flesh. What does flesh do to the body? Because some flesh are harder to digest than others.
Correct.
But flesh breaks down iron.
Mm-hmm.
And when we eat flesh, because you see, Troy, we have to recognize that the Bible says this here, and it says that, and yes, Journey quotes, just like others, who pick out here and there. But when we come to recognize that the writers who have polluted sacredness, Troy, when we recognize that the writers who had interrupted and polluted a civilization that was in alignment, then can we believe? Because, no, you outlined the pork and the thing, because I think it was Peter was on a vision, and a slate was laid before him, and a voice that said, "Arise, kill and eat." And Peter said, "Nothing common or unclean has entered my mouth." Now, where Peter knew that from? Could it be that Peter was saying that he was eating herb for meat? Because he said, "Nothing come." A slate was laid before Peter, and a voice that said, "Arise, Peter, kill and eat." But there was a message behind of it. But the very fact that Peter said, not so, Lord, nothing common or unclean has entered my mouth. What if Peter was eating herb for meat, Troy?
That.
Can you see? The Bible tells us this here, and he said that here. And later on he said, you must eat your meat roast without the blood.
Barbecue.
Thou shalt not kill. And yet, God called Abraham and asked Abraham to give up his humanity to kill his own son. This is the same God that said, "Thou shalt not kill." But try, these stories are esoteric. They have deeper meaning. And that's why I said God and the devil are the same. And man is God and man can be the devil. There's no God outside of you, Troy. You are a God. A woman is a goddess. But the writers gave us a deity and says this deity have all these characteristics and attributes. He's powerful. He craves life so he can take life. Now, when you look at the elements of nature, Troy, if you're in alignment with nature and the elements of air, earth, water, fire, spirit, and the SUM, the light of the world, I mean, Troy, how can you go wrong? Herb for meat. And that's why when we become older and the damage being done by eating flesh, we end up in the hospital, our mucous membrane was compromised, our bodies have been compromised. And Troy, earlier this morning I said, they have studied us and they know who we are and what they are not. Why allow us to be when they can jeopardize, and as I said, they become narcissists now, Troy, from COVID and all that they now know that we are experiencing with their wars and their rumors of wars to keep us distracted from aligning with the source, the elements, and to be in harmony with nature. Why, we are not like them, our hearts are not like them. We quicker forgive them than they would forgive us. They would quicker kill us than we would kill them. These are facts, Troy. It's their nature to be that way. And you might ask the question, how they become like that? Well, he said that they that were cast out, when they saw purity and innocence, they went and they polluted the daughters of the Son of the Most High. They created a seed. They created their seed, Troy.
Caller,
But
you know what I'm wondering? If perhaps we shouldn't invite a panel one of these days here on Voices, yourself, maybe somebody from the Seventh Day, somebody from Jehovah's Witness, somebody from Catholic, Anglican, I don't know, Pentecostal church, to trash out certain things. I don't believe one session will do it, but the different interpretations. I love to refer to Conway's song One Song, when he said we should be singing the same song. You and I could be singing the same song, eh? But one, you sing in verse 1, I sing in verse 2, somebody else sing in verse 3. But not only that, you could have four persons singing verse 1, somebody singing the first line, somebody singing the second, the third, and the fourth. So though we are all singing the same song, we are not in harmony, we are not in unison. But I think I'd like to hear that discussion with different elements, the different denominations, caller. But we do have to go to a break. I thank you again for call. Okay, sounds like you slipped away. And the strange thing about it was, it this morning, yesterday morning, about 2 or 3 o'clock when I got up, I somehow, and I think you're reviewing the discussions on Voices, And I remember last week we had the discussion with the gender base, and somehow there's a song I remember. I think if the Lord wanted things a certain way, he would have, instead of Adam and Eve, he would have had Adam and Steve. But I'm wondering why, if that should not have been a three-way. Adam and Eve, yes, man and woman, but then Evan and Eva, two females, and Steve and Stephen, I don't know, two males. I'm not saying it is right, don't get me wrong, but just from that element. You're listening to Voices here on WinFM 98.9. It's now 10:59. I am Troy Biff Mills. I'm holding it down for the man Q, and we are going to go in and pay some bills. Stick and stay. Don't go away. We will be right back with more voices.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
Come, build with us at Hostels Building and Nevis Centers. We don't just sell materials, we help you build your dreams. Whether it's a new home, a renovation, or a DIY project, we're here to make it happen. That's why we say, build with us. From foundation to finish, come to our stores where we have the best in building materials, hardware, tools, paints, expert advice, and more. Whatever you need, you can count on us. So if you're ready to get started, build with us. With Hostels Building and Nevis Centers, you're not just building a structure, you're building a future. Let us help you create something amazing. Dream with us, plan with us, grow with us, build with us. Come build with us at Hostels Building and Nevis Centers today. Build with us at Hostels.
Rams the good food people, always there to serve you. Rams the good food people, locations right near you. Rams the good food people, in-store specials for you. Rams the good food people. Rams. When you need better service, Rams is always here. Better value, better prices. Rams is always here. Rewarding your loyalty. Rams is always here. We are community. We are family. We are family. Rams for you and me. We are community. Rams for you and me.
Unlock the secrets to a healthier you. Join Dr. Natalie Osborne every Tuesday at 8:30 a.m. on WinFM 98.9 for Weekly Dose. During this 30-minute health discussion, we aim to educate and empower our listeners on the prevention of diseases, early diagnosis, and timely intervention. Don't miss out on this informative health talk where we teach you to live your best life. Weekly Dose, Tuesdays on WinFM 98.9.
More than 42 million cars from 19 different car companies are being recalled for faulty airbag inflators. Repairs are fast, easy, and free. The problem isn't with the airbag, it's with the airbag inflator. Because the inflator can rupture, shooting shrapnel through the airbag, which can cause serious injury or even death. Don't risk it, fix it.
Please contact TDC Automotive Division to find out if your Toyota vehicle is affected by the Takata airbag recall. Visit or call us at 465-2511 in St. Kitts or 469-5430 in Nevis.
You ever hear earthquake call and say, "Hello, Miss Lee, yes, it's me, earthquake, I come in Tuesday around 10? No, sir. Earthquake does arrive unannounced, and when it come, it shake all sense and sensibility out of we. Remain calm, stay inside, and do the DCH. Drop, hover, hold on. Once the shaking starts, you know it's earthquake. Make a quick move to a safe place. Don't run to the door, we are any exit. Stairs might broke up or full of people. Elevator, avoid that, because you might get in and poof, power gone, and you're stuck in that box without ear. Take cover under a strong table or a bed, or crouch against an inside wall or in a corner, and cover your face and your head with your arms. Remember, DCH, drop, cover, hold on. Glass windows and doors, outside walls and doors in an earthquake, bad news. Take care yourself. Most injuries during earthquakes happen when something drop and hit people entering or exiting a building. Last thing, nobody run outside and ask, you feel it, you feel it? Remain calm, stay indoors until all the shaking stop, and do the DCH, drop, cover, hold on.
This message is sponsored by the Australian Government, AusAid, and produced by NEMA in collaboration with WinFM.
It's the energy of we people, something pulsing inside. It beating every soul, a feeling we cannot It's always pushing us forward, the limit up in the sky. There's rhythm in how we flow, a rhythm that can't be denied. It's in the feeling in our we talk. It's in the meaning in our spot. It is the thing that sets us apart, who we are. 'Cause the rhythm of life keeps bumping.
Welcome back to Voices here on WinFM 98.9. It's now 6 minutes and 24 seconds after 11 a.m. Today is Wednesday the 18th, and hey, topic this fire receipts. Boy, when I finish hosting, I got to go do some good soaking in this water to take off some of the heat pelting left, right, and center. But that is what WinFM is here for. WinFM is here to allow you to express your view and your opinion, biased or unbiased, different or indifferent. I don't have to agree with you. You don't have to agree with me. We are all different persons. We all have our separate, independent, and different opinions, different views. And hey, nothing is wrong with that at all. All we're asking is that, and I must commend the callers, you have been doing an excellent job in terms of, one, respecting yourself, respecting your others. When we have guests, respecting the guests, the host, respecting myself, and I really appreciate that. And not being defamatory, not being libelous, no expletives or anything like that. And I do thank you, and I encourage you to always stay on that line. WinFM has always been here Voices has always been here from time when, way back when, to allow you, the regular man and woman on the street, to express your view. Whether you're supporting the government, whether you're not. And what I find, though, I think we're not as matured as we need to be. You're doing something because you're my friend, you're my relative. It's like the emperor's new suit. Hey, I cannot say, hey, Peter, Paula, Mary, or Jane, girl, that ain't make no sense, you're doing something wrong. Because I support you, everything is okay. Like I said, the emperor's new suit. We have a caller. Let's go straight to the line and say good morning, caller. Welcome to Voices here on WinFM 98.9. You're live.
Good morning. How are you doing, man?
I am blessed, highly favored, and giving thanks. So, what about you?
What happened to Quint?
He
Essential One.
He is on holidays, and his holidays ends. I think it is. Does it end Thursday? He'll be back Friday. He ends Friday. He'll be back Monday. But you have me for one more day tomorrow, God spare, and you may have me Friday. But definitely,
not that you're not doing a good job, but I kind of miss Quint.
I understand
anyway,
that, and that is okay.
I want to use this opportunity to commend the Department of Government, which is Public Works, And in patching the road, they are doing a tremendous job. Another thing is that I was listening to you a while ago when you made a comment concerning personal income tax and versus the tax system of which we have.
Yes, sir.
The personal income tax, to introduce that for our government system, will not benefit the government itself as much as the kind of tax system that we have right now. The system that we have right now, government pays nothing. They collect everything. And so we have no tax return. So that is very good for government, and it's easy to function. The hardest thing that government have, and that is normally not only government, but people personally have large and big problem, is spending. Like the former Prime Minister made a comment and tell the Prime Minister in Nevis, the Premier in Nevis, Mark, you spend bad. So when he said spend bad, it does not go to the Premier in Nevis only, but government have a tendency to spend bad, and people in general spend bad, because out of your generating income, you should actually save something for the rainy day.
Correct.
Or when you are not working, rather than spend all.
Some argue maybe a 10%.
Say that again?
Some may say a 10%.
Yes, well, yeah, you should save a 10. Don't give it to the church, because they're going to use it and you're not going to get back anything.
So that's another 10%.
No, don't give the church anything. The 10% tithing does not go for us. It go for those people. 10% of wheat that they store in the barn house for when there is no wheat, then you could break out that and get out of it. But when you put 10% in the church, you get nothing back. The minister going to buy a new car and go on a vacation and so on, and that time you're hungry. So that 10% is not valid right now.
Interesting view.
Look at job if you want money.
Interesting view. And
the minister should go look at job if you want money.
Okay, caller. But that's an interesting view.
That's my opinion.
I understand that. I see it a little different. Even though you made the point about the ministers and the big, well, you didn't say the big churches eventually, but that is the case and well dressed. But I've heard the argument, shouldn't preachers live a certain lifestyle to show you, the man, that, hey, once you're faithful to the Lord, you can enjoy this lifestyle as well?
Can a master live above his servant? A servant live above his master? Because minister, the word minister means servant.
Okay.
He who serves should live in a way as your servant. And so therefore, the minister will tell you, bring your money to me, but when you want money, you must go to God. Then things are that is not feasible.
But if you do have the faith,
let's say you have a project in the church, have a project, and they want to move the project through. Most of the time, you need money.
Correct.
So the people must contribute this money to come together, because everywhere you have people coming together, it's a force, it's strength, and it's unity. And once they come together, the load become lighter. And so you could use that money to help, and not really to enrich yourself. Because if you take the money to enrich yourself, you're going against the grain of the whole idea of what you're supposed to be doing. And so the whole idea is to collect and distribute, not give out money, but do things that help and aid people in their daily living. That is my opinion.
I read your caller.
We are crying out for fungus in building and so on, and we are paying maintenance people. Government have one of the biggest maintenance crew. They are being paid, and never 1 month, never 1 week, I've heard someone say they have not been paid by government. It's just that they are not being supervised. And so the problem is you should move the supervisor and put him to work and let those who are below him supervise him. Because for some reason or another, supervisors are not supervising what they're supposed to be doing. Those are some of the main problems that we have. But like I say, everything else, I think I've said enough. I don't want to keep it too long. Let somebody else say something, because it's called voices.
Yes, sir.
And not one voice.
But we allow you.
Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, but we allow you to share your one voice. And we thank you for listening. We thank you for calling. And to the many persons who are calling or who are listening and not calling, we appreciate that. But if I go here to our Facebook page, there is a comment. How do we know what Destiny is asking for? Have you seen the proposed agreement? No, I haven't. So that's a good question, and I have to make myself savvy with that. And if we go to our YouTube, it says, so when you lower the taxes for foreign investors, how do you take care of the infrastructure that will need maintaining? So what the caller is saying, first the investors get the break and we the public. Another comment, public pay for the maintenance of the infrastructure development, so the investors get a free ride and we do the maintenance don't add up. Those are the views of some persons on our Facebook and YouTube. And we thank you for commenting on that. Of course, you're entitled to your view. You're entitled to ask a question. And your view and my view, whether I'm not seeing your view or you're not seeing my view, that is okay. That is what life is all about. As we take this other caller, good morning, caller, you're live on Voices here on WinFM 98.9.
Sorry to come back to you again.
No, that's okay. You don't have to apologize, sir.
I think you work at where? Community development or somewhere in that area?
No, I was the director of sports. I was also transferred to the anti-doping secretariat, but I've retired as of the 9th of December.
You have carried some big name and so on, but in government, but those are really big. My head can't fill those heads. Anyway, but I want to say this. I think you might recall that some of the ways that government functions is that, take for instance, Carnival Committee. Carnival engage a number of people to do certain things. And engaging them, Carnival don't go out and say, this is our budget. We want to paint a palm tree. And the value to paint the palm tree is $10. And so when you approach a contractor, you don't tell the contractor, give me the value, give me an estimate to paint the palm tree. You tell him, oh man, go ahead, man, paint the palm tree when you're done sending your bill. And when the contractor sends in the bill, you yourself hold in your hat because it's government, and so the bill grow enormously higher. And so, in my mind, those things need to be changed. It need to be changed that somebody must know before they get into a business, a contract with anyone, how much the person going to charge before they touch the job. And most of the time, government get in trouble. People cannot get paid because you tell them, oh, man, just do the job. When you finish, send your bill. You can't tell people that. You must know so that it must be agreed upon as to how much the job is going to cost before the person touch the job.
I agree with you 100%.
Most of the time when the job finish and you get the bill after, you yourself who even give the person the job, hold in your hat because wind is blowing so high with the price. And so therefore, you have to change the way you do business. And some of the things that I hear that we do in St. Kitts, in terms of if you're going to cut a field, you're going to charge over $15,000 to cut a playground, one cut, and you could have bought 10 machines for that, 4 machines, that they could have the machine to continue cutting the ground. Those are ridiculous prices because of government. So therefore, we have to change the way we do business. You just can't go up and give a man a job and tell him to bill you after. No, it don't work that way.
I agree with you.
Thank you very much for your time.
No problem, sir. We welcome you anytime. I agree with you 100%, caller. And when I have a job, I carry my laptop to you to fix, whether we're good or whatever. I don't accept, hey, boy, before I'm going to work with you. Oh, boy, I'm going to knock you, hit you hard, I'm going to take care of you, or whatever. That is good, and I appreciate that, but I like to know, well, boy, Biff, this job going to cost $375, $500, whatever. Give me the price. If I believe it's too much, I obviously could go someplace else. Or I say, all right, work with me. And you're correct. Governments, for whatever reason, note I said governments, to give our supporters or give their supporters job, you might send in a bid to do a job for $5,000. I might send in one to do the same job for $8,000, but I'm a big piece and I'm going to get the job because I'm a big piece. And maybe even your standard might be much higher than mine. I think that is ridiculous. And I could tell you there was a gentleman when he became the chairman of Carnival, his first year, persons were bringing in bills, and when he asked, well, a few questions. One, who gave you these jobs to do? And two, what's the agreement? He said, oh boy, that is how I've been doing it all these years, So the gentleman said, why not? And so you go, when we have a job, we reach out to persons, we advertise or whatever, and then you submit your quotations, your estimates, and then we meet. You just don't bring in a bill and say, boy, I accustomed to paint a tree for the last 5 years and bring in a bill for whatever the case. And no, they said a former chairman of Carnival. Don't get me wrong, it's not this current chairman of Carnival, a former chairman of Carnival. And obviously that chairman lost some friends, and especially in the media circles. But let us go live and lively to this caller, which we lost. My apologies for getting to you late. Well, let's take this other caller. You're listening to Voices here on WinFM 98.9. Your live caller, go ahead.
Yes, Biff, it's me again.
Thank you for calling back, sir.
Yes. Now, you mentioned that you heard that there might be plans to privatize the restrooms down at the bus terminal. Okay?
I was told that by some of the persons, the bar owners down at the ferry terminal.
Right. Now, I think the quicker that is done, the better it is, because I'm all for that. And to dovetail into that point, okay?
Before you go on, why are you all for that?
Why? Because when things are privatized, they operate a lot better, and in the end, it is less when you pay upfront than when government charging you these lower taxes for the same things. It might look as though you're paying more because you're paying it up front and you ain't really cognizant of the taxes, the lower taxes that is even more for the government to do the same thing. So those and other reasons why the private sector operate more efficiently, effectively, and use half the amount of money that government use to do the same thing, because they are more effective and more efficient and more competitive. Now, to dovetail into that, what I would also like to say that, you see, this is why I agree with doing things the Bible way, okay? And everything that I mentioned so far, the background is really doing it the Bible way, even though I haven't said it explicitly. But I did that once, not too long ago. Now, the government job biblically is, for one, to have taxes to be fully voluntary, and two, to be limited to punishing evildoers the way the Bible said that ought to be done, and to be approving of those that do good. Okay? Those are really the biblical functions for government. Providing facilities, infrastructures, and all those sort of stuff supposed to be privately done, and therefore lessening government expense. And in the private sector, these things are better taken care of, especially when you have a private sector that is very competitive. Okay, so those who ask, well, where the government going to take care, or where the government going to get the money from to take care of these things, well, the biblical way to go is for really these things to be done by the private sector.
I think generally, before you go on, Greg, generally governments, not just in St. Kitts and Nevis, but throughout the Caribbean, from
the whole world.
No, but my understanding, they don't do a good job at maintenance, at
very bad job at maintenance.
And this is not only in St. Kitts and Nevis, throughout the Caribbean particularly. I don't know about wider field.
Yeah, throughout the whole world, because I know that too, throughout in other countries.
And you invent, and I could speak to that, because when, for example, you submit your budget, you need, and I'm giving an example. Okay, let me not use that facility, but let us say there is a table tennis complex in SP where the best be, and we need to do some work on it, and we send in a bill to the government for, I don't know, $500,000 or budget for 2027 to repairs and whatever, maintain and paint and whatever. And then they're going to only give you, let's say $75,000. So you're short of $425,000. And next year, the cost of maintaining that 500,000 has gone up to 550,000. So, though you put 75, you're short of that. So you're now asking for say 600,000, and then they're going to give you another 75,000. Then you continue doing that for 3-4 years. It will come a point that one, you've spent 500,000 piece, but two, the value of doing the entire maintenance now has climbed from 500,000 to $1 million. And that is when they're going to come in now and give the $1 million when they already gave 500,000. So you're going to spend $1.5 million to maintain a building, a facility that really costed 500,000 in the same instance.
Yeah.
And I cannot understand the rationale. And that is a real example I gave. The figures are not real, but the process, the system, I can't understand.
Political football system.
Which to me is ridiculous. And
but that's the nature of government.
But why? But why? Why do they have to operate like that?
Because you see, government operate and enforce taxation, so you must pay your taxes. So there is no pressure on them to be competitive.
I understand that.
Unlike a business, you have to please. If you're in a competitive economy, you have to please your customers to get your money, or you go to business. Not so with government. Government, you must pay them the taxes.
I understand that. But I don't know, and this is not the incumbent, the current government. Governments before, maintenance, the Sandy Point hard court, the different hard courts around, the Sandy Point playing field, I don't know. But I just can't understand why. But going back to the bathrooms at the ferry terminal, Greg, if anybody, if it is privatized, whoever undertake the project, owns it now, renting the facility or whatever, they're going to be in it for business, so they must make money. So obviously, one of the things...
But same thing, the government must make money too, in order if they're going to maintain them.
Of course. So one of the things that I believe will happen is rather than using the bathroom free, you'll have to pay whether $1 or $2 every time you use it, or maybe...
Not to cut you off, babe. Not to cut you off, but the restroom over by the taxi area, you have to pay to use it. That's my understanding.
Over the taxi area, where is that?
Port Sante.
Oh, okay.
At the back?
Okay, at the back, by the sands. Where you enter from? You enter from the sands complex.
You have to pay to use it. Yeah?
Okay, Greg. I'll take a pass the after voices, God spare, and I'll attempt to use it and see what I'm told.
Yeah, because I was over there some time ago, and I was told, well, suppose I want to use that and so. And they said that, I forget who they tell me you had to pay to use it.
But is that wrong, though?
No, it's not wrong. To maintain something, you must need money.
And how much you will be willing to pay to use the bathroom on a per-use basis?
On a per-use basis, for me personally, I wouldn't mind paying up to $5 for me personally,
So
I don't think it was that much. I do not think it was
that much. I
understand.
But the question wasn't how much they charge you, how much you will be willing to pay. So let me see if I understand this, Greg. You're going into the bathroom to urinate. You're going to spend, I don't know, let's say 1 minute. And you're willing to pay $5 for that. And according to you're in the area 4 times a day, and you have to use the bathroom, you're willing to pay $20 a day for that. Is that what you're saying? Okay.
Yes. For me.
I'm specific. You, somebody is making
arguments. I don't think it was that much. I don't think, at the time when I was told, I don't think it was that much. I don't think so.
I suspect it's going to be, if that happens at the ferry terminal, it's going to be 1 EC, maybe 2. And then another question. Do you have a different rate for locals and a different rate for visitors, tourists?
But babe, let me say this. The 2 restrooms should not be owned by one person or one group. It should be competitive. So if I don't agree with Mr. A's rate, let me go by Mr. B.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, in my understanding, are you suggesting that, let's say at the ferry terminal, the 2 bathrooms up on the the Koori end, you should be in charge of that, and I'm in charge of the 2 bathroom down at the market end?
Right.
Okay.
So we can compete because one person own them, they have the monopoly and they could do as they feel like.
Okay. But normally there is friendship in competition. Why I say that, when there's music festival, for example, most if not all the bars decide to sell a Johnny Black for $20.
Mm-hmm.
You may go to that bar over there and get it for $15 for whatever reason or reasons, but most times, most of the bar owners, they operate in collusion, for want of a better expression. Well, let me not lose collusion. They operate in unity or unison, selling the price at the same thing. So can't that happen with the two bar rooms? You know, you say, boy, look, people must use them.
Yeah, it is possible, but the only how you're going to have competition if they're owned by different people. That's the only how you're going to have competition. Definitely, if all of them are owned by one. Yeah, definitely, if all of them are owned by one, definitely you'll be killing the competition. So if there is going to be any competition, they would have to be owned by different people.
I understand that, and I agree with that, Greg.
Yeah, but let me also say as well quickly as well. You see, like how we having this talk with the backroom thing.
Yes, sir.
For example, when Tony used to work at WinFM, okay, she used to take excerpts from these talk shows and make them to be news items. I think WinFM could do that with this very important issue. Take excerpts from the talks we're having, especially you, when you say you went down and talked to them and you just be at WinFM. I think they should take excerpts from what you have said in today's program and make it a news item as well, because Tony used to do that with the talk shows.
That's a good suggestion.
Yeah, and that's it. Let me say this quickly. Genesis chapter 9 verse 3. God told Noah after the flood, everything that is moving on the earth, everything that is on the earth, that lives on the earth, that moves on the earth, I'm now giving you for food. He told Noah that after the flood, the only thing is that you are not supposed to eat the meat, the flesh, with the blood in it. But everything that moves and lives on the earth, I'm now giving you for food for you to eat. Whereas before, I only gave you the herbs. And there was a restriction under the Mosaic law, under the Old Covenant, but now, under the New Covenant, those restrictions have basically gone back to how it was with Noah. Basically.
So you're saying what Johnny said earlier about the herbs for meat, that has now advanced to, yes, okay, that was a good thing, but no, we could do it differently. Yeah. We could eat meat.
It basically gone back to how it was under Noah, where everything was allowed, where God told Noah, everything now that lives and moves on the earth is now food for you. Whereas before the flood, you only was allowed to eat herbs. Even Jesus ate the Passover lamb. Jesus gave his disciples roast fish and all them sort of stuff. Okay?
And remember the 5 loaves, how it is? The 5 fish and the loaves?
The 5 loaves,
and the fish?
And the 2 fish.
Uh-huh.
Yes. And he multiplied them and that sort of stuff. So what I always say, that people need to read things in context. Because it's because of the lack of reading things in proper context. Why we got these load of different religions and all kind of disagreement when there should not be, if we just read things in its proper context. But that sort of stuff.
But what is the proper context, Greg? If both of us read the same 2, 3, 4, 5 paragraphs, and you get an interpretation different to mine, who is not reading it in the proper context? Is it you or is it me?
The one whose interpretation is inconsistent with other parts of the scripture is the one who is not reading it in context. But once your interpretation is consistent with the rest of the Bible, taking in consideration the grammar, the tenses, the background, the cultural background, and not hiding from some scriptures and choosing certain scriptures. Once you ain't doing these things, but your interpretation is consistent with the rest of the Bible, you are interpreting the Bible in its right context, because inconsistency is the mark of a failed argument. Because how can Johnny square things with Jesus Christ, eating the Passover lamb, eating fishes, providing fishes for people, how could he square what he said with that? And another thing, Johnny keeps saying the Bible is false and they were given to us to subjure us and that sort of. Yet he go back to the same Bible and quote other scriptures that he finds good, he finds convenient for him to quote, to say, oh, this is how it was, this is how it was. But when other scriptures, when he ain't finding convenient, he says, oh, the Bible false, and they give us the Bible to subjure us and all sort of stuff. These are marks of an inconsistent argument, and therefore failed argument.
Okay, Greg, I understand that. And I like the difference in opinion. Who is right, who is wrong, that's a different kettle of fish. I don't think I am the authority at all to determine that. And hey, let us cool down and let us go to downtown, pay some bills. It's 11:35, so we've got 24 minutes and 57 seconds left. We have time for a few more calls, but let's go and pay some bills.
We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Come, build with us at Hostels Building and Nevis Centers. We don't just sell materials, we help you build your dreams. Whether it's a new home, a renovation, or a DIY project, we're here to make it happen. That's why we say, build with us. From foundation to finish, come to our stores where we have the best in building materials, hardware, tools, paints, expert advice, and more. Whatever you need, you can count on us. So if you're ready to get started, build with us. With Hostels Building and Nevis Centers, you're not just building a structure, you're building a future. Let us help you create something amazing. Dream with us, plan with us, grow with us, build with us. Come build with us at Hostels Building and Nevis Centers today. Build with us at Hostels.
Heritage matters to me. Heritage matters to you. Join me, Percival Hanley, this coming Friday and every other Friday at 10 a.m. to 12 noon for Heritage Matters on Win Media SKN 98.9. Heritage matters to me. Heritage matters to you.
It's the energy of we people, something pulsing inside. It beating every soul, a feeling we cannot It's always pushing us forward, the limit up in the sky. There's rhythm in how we flow, a rhythm that can't be denied. It's in the feeling in how we talk. It's in the meaning in our spot. It is the thing that sets us apart. Who we are, 'cause the rhythm of life keeps pumping.
Tire treads gone? Going bald? Don't let this be you. It's time for new tires from TDC Automotive. As the month rolls along, buy 2 or more tires and get 20% off your purchase. Get more savings and safer driving for the roads ahead. Visit TDC Automotive today at Southwell Industrial Estate in St. Kitts or Penny's Industrial Estate Nevis. TDC Automotive, #1 for a reason. Terms and conditions apply. Offer valid while stocks last.
Come, build with us at Hostels Building and Nevis Centers. We don't just sell materials, we help you build your dreams. Whether it's a new home, a renovation, or a DIY project, we're here to make it happen. That's why we say, build with us. From foundation to finish, come to our stores where we have the best in building materials, hardware, tools, paints, expert advice, and more. Whatever you need, you can count on us. So if you're ready to get started, build with us. With Hostels Building and Nevis Centers, you're not just building a structure, you're building a future. Let us help you create something amazing. Dream with us, plan with us, grow with us, build with us. Come build with us at Hostels Building and Nevis Centers today. Build with us at Hostels.
It's the energy of we people. people, something pulsing inside. It beating every soul, a feeling we cannot It's always pushing us forward, the limit up in the sky. There's rhythm in how we flow, a rhythm that can't be denied. It's in the feeling in how we talk. It's in the meaning in our spark. It is the thing that sets us apart. Who we are. 'Cause the rhythm of life keeps bumping. Together going strong. No matter what, we keep things flowing. For the people we will go all in. Our hands up in the sky. Celebrate and come, let your rhythm flow. Flow, 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 flow. Come, let your rhythm Come, let your rhythm flow.
What are you doing?
She said, drink a root boy, I will do the work. You don't have to wind up yourself. You don't have to wind up yourself. Oh. She said, drink a root boy, I will do the work. You don't have to wind up yourself. You don't have to wind up yourself. Oh. Cause when we out and we active living we life. So when we drink, we be drinking. Root boy. So when we drink, we be drinking. Root boy. Oh, Miss Lady, anyway you see we building up our vibes. So when we drink, we be drinking. Root boy. So when we drink, we be drinking. Root boy. Why?
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
We're back here on Voices on WinFM 98.9. We have a caller online. Let's go straight to the line and say, good morning, caller. Welcome to Voices. You're live. Oh, well, actually, we had a caller online. And please do call back. And, of course, if you're shy or you're not in a position to call and you want to share a view, you can catch us on Facebook. You can catch us on YouTube. Or you can send me a WhatsApp on 668-2055, which is now back up and running, or 765-1100. I'm physically walking around with two phones, and that ain't quite working for me. I have to get a dual SIM phone, so I have the two of them there. It's quite a challenge using two phones. As we go back to the line, we say good morning, caller. Welcome to Voices. You're live.
So are you?
Yes, sir.
I know I said my last call was the last one, but just permit me here quickly.
Okay, sir.
You see this thing about Old Testament and New Testament and Old Covenant and New Covenant?
Yes, sir.
Now, the book says God regretted that he made man. The book says this about God. The book says that about God.
Where was that said?
God, sorry?
Where was that said in the book?
That he regrets. It's in the Old Testament. But if you ask me where, I can't pinpoint it, but I can check it out.
Okay, please.
What I'm saying is destroy. Now, the biblical God says, I am the same yesterday, today, and be forever. Now, Troy, these are literature that was written by man. There's no mistake, right? Because what I'm trying to share is that God being spirit, God being consciousness, God being energy, whatever you choose to call God, it is the unseen we are talking about. Yet, he spoke to holy inspired men. God called Moses up into Mount Sinai and gave him 10 commandments, which God, according to what they wrote, was inscribed on stone. Now, if God is so powerful and great that he can write on stone, yet he leaves a benchmark to guide humanity up to man that claimed they were wholly inspired. Are you following me, Troy?
Yes, I am.
Now, it says there that while they were in Egypt, they were eating, I think, I stand to be corrected, but they were eating manna that fell from heaven and all of that until they made the exodus. They asked for this and they asked for that, and then God sent them to collect what came down and all of that. These are things that man wrote. But the book, it's almost like the book is hinting to us because the writers are playing on our minds. And that is why, Troy, if you go into biology now, you know that flesh breaks down the body. But when we are young, our immune system are strong. So yes, our immune system are strong enough to digest it. Are you following me, Troy?
Yes, I am, sir.
I'm taking you back to Genesis 1. Days where they gave us the herb for meat, Troy. Because you see, God didn't plan for man to be enslaved. I mean, animals are free, and we are being governed by man. That's not the order of the Creator, Joy. Herbs for meat is enough to sustain us. Seed bearing fruit. Now, when you look at those who claim they were wholly inspired, look at their geographical space, Joy. Compared to the continent of Africa that have all herbs and fruits that we're supposed to eat. Because they are carnivores, they've been consuming flesh. Now they put it in a literature that claim that this God, they were wholly inspired to write all of that. And they break down here, there, and all there, and tell us this here, and tell us that here in their literature. Their theology, which is psychology on our minds, Troy. And that is what we have to get away from. Because right now, this is the world that we're in, Troy. It is their world. And they tell us in this same book, be in the world, but be transformed from the world. This is their world. And that is why they have created fear. Fear. False evidence appearing real, Troy. Because that world that they have created have taken us away from being in harmony. We were in harmony before the Bible. We didn't even know this thing about the devil. We never knew anything about the devil. We didn't know anything about hate. We were in harmony. Yes, something happened to us, Troy.
But wasn't that
we
harmony
interrupted?
Wasn't that interruption with the Adam and Eve and eating the food, the forbidden food?
I'm glad you asked that question, Troy. Now, it says after Adam and Eve disobeyed, it says what? I shall put enmity between the man and the woman. The serpent and the woman, something like that. He shall bruise thy head, and ye shall bruise his heel. But Troy, do we understand that? Who is bruising our heel today, Troy? We, the oppressed. Who is bruising our heel in our reality today, Troy? From colonization, slavery, until present now, who is bruising our heel? But do we understand that we are bruising their head? Do we know what that means? I shall put enmity between the seed of the woman and the seed of the serpent. Later down in the book, it says that God tells Cain for killing his brother, had you been my son, you would not have killed your brother Abel. You are of your father, the wicked one. Now, God is saying this to Cain. What does God mean by you are of your father, the wicked one? But you see, Troy, we read these things, maybe we don't even read them, and most of the time, maybe the pastor don't even take time to explain what this means, because maybe the pastor themselves don't even understand it.
Good point. You can't preach what you don't know. And then perhaps what Greg has said in terms of the interpretation, one pastor's interpretation of the same scripture may very well be different from another, taken in context or not. And some caller, I think it was last week, had said one may deliberately choose to interpret it a particular way. But I'm not certain we'll ever get on top of what is the correct interpretation, Johnny.
Troy,
yes, sir.
Greg and many others are in the space of believing. I was there too, Troy. I've moved away from believing because I am knowing. I am knowing, Troy. And we are lazy because we don't do our research. We don't research. Now, yes, you may ask the question, well, who put information to be researched? It is man. But you have to identify by knowing that these are facts that were committed And that's why I said try both deity in the Bible are spirit, energy. But can you or me say that I have seen spirit actually kill?
30 seconds, caller. We have another call.
I will try. I'll leave it there.
All right, thanks a lot. We appreciate that. Very interesting. Let us go to this caller. Oh, caller has gone. Sorry about that, caller. Can you please call back? And while you do that, I have a WhatsApp from a listener, and the listener is saying, "Hi, good morning. How are you doing? Good conversation. The prices for the bathrooms on Port Zante are visitors $1 US or $2.50. Locals, I'm not seeing it. Or is it $2.50 for locals? $1 US for visitors, $2.50 for locals. Not that there's any big difference. Or maybe is $2.50 the exchange rate, and it doesn't say anything about locals, whether it's one EC or locals are free. So perhaps, sir, who sent me that WhatsApp message, could you please resend it? I appreciate it. And those of you who want to send a WhatsApp message, 668-2055, which is now up and running, or 765-1100. I really appreciate that. And while we wait our next callers, a lot of things really happening in St. Kitts and Nevis. And come West Indies, they're hosting Australia in the females 3-20 internationals, and they're moving here. The 20 starts, they start tomorrow. That's down in Grenada, St. Vincent, and then they come to St. Kitts, where we're going to be having 350 over international. And St. Kitts and Nevis's Jazara Claxton, she is in the West Indies, and this is a senior level. She is in the West Indies senior team. Will she get a game here? I'm not certain. I don't know, but I hope that she will. And we have a lot of good news here. New police recruits begin training. Course number 7 that started by the St. Christopher Nevis Police Force. And that started, this article is dated the 18th today. And that is, I'm not seeing a number to say how many persons, but we've also had 24 privates passing out from the Defense Force, and that was a few days ago. So that's another positive thing. But one of my concerns, the high rate of turnover in both the Defense Force and the Police Force. We could never seem to get enough. And what is the reason? What are the reasons? I don't know. And I'm looking at another article. Government affirms fair process, beach access coming. And this has to do with the government of St. Kitts and Nevis confirmed that formal notice has been issued requiring the operators of bars located on South Friars Bay, including the Godfather Bar, the Discovery Bar, and the Shipwreck Bar and Grill, to relocate their establishment no later than midnight on Tuesday, April 7, 2026. The action follows more than 4 months of engagement and accommodation by the government after the bar operators were formally notified on November 10, 2025 that the area they occupy forms part of lands required for a major tourism development project and that their operations could not lawfully continue on Crown land or private property without permission. All that mean in English, you got 3 bars over Friars Bay. They've been operating there from whenever, however, and you got to pack up and leave. It doesn't say, well, I haven't read deep into the article to find out if they don't move by the deadline, what will happen. But I don't know if bulldozers will just come in and start pushing down, as was the case some years ago over in the number 7 region. And but we have a caller. Let's go to the caller and say, good afternoon, caller. Welcome to Voices.
Yeah, Biff?
Yes, sir.
Quickly,
sir. I appreciate that.
Yes. Those people who, well, okay, if the government, right, do privatize the beds, okay, at the bus terminal, the monies that the people down there are paying to the government should at the very least be significantly cut. And the reason why, because in those monies supposed to be money for the upkeep of the baths, of the restrooms.
Interesting point of view, Greg.
Yes, so if they do privatization, which they ought to do, and like I said, different sets of owners, not one, different sets of owners, but if they do it as they ought to, yes, like I said, they should start substantially cut the monies that the people down there, the businesses down there are paying to the government.
And
okay,
how much do you think that it should be cut by? You have either percentage or figure.
I do not know how much they're paying, but maybe percentage wise, at least maybe 25%.
25%.
It's not 30%.
So if they're paying $100, you're saying
at least.
So if they're paying $100, as an example, you're suggesting they should be cut down and by $25.
$30 come out it.
Okay.
$30.
I think they're paying $100 and something dollars. I'm not certain. I don't know when last. But thanks a lot, Greg, for your input. That's very interesting perspective there by Greg. And Greg, I gamble once in my life. I lose $295. That was back in 1983. That was in Guyana. And that 295 EC, 295 Guyanese, that valued about 10 US back then. That's the first time I gambled. And I was a little boy. I was like, what, 1983, 1920? No, I was 19. First time I saw the game where you move the 3 cards and you pick the face card. I followed that for half an hour, boy, and I thought I had it. But I didn't know that people playing with it. But anyway, that's the first time I gamble in my life, and that is the last time I gamble in my life. I don't even say, why, let me go down and pay $5 on slot machine. I bet your sweetie that this going to win. I just ain't into gambling. That ain't my thing. I learned quick and early in 1983. But I will bet you, Greg, that the government ain't going to reduce. Privatize. The government, Greg, will not reduce any money in the zone there, as right as it should be. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, it's 11:56 and 30 seconds. We have to make way for the news. We have to go to some ads before we go to the news. So I'll have to wrap up, go to the ads. The news are going to come in. You've been listening to another issue of Voices here on WinFM 98.9. I've been hosting it for the last 2.5 weeks. I'm Troy Biff Mills. Tomorrow may very well be my last day. I think Queen comes out on Friday or Monday. So I'm working as if tomorrow is my last day. So I invite you to tune in again. We're going to be having Island Tea tomorrow, God's Spear. We're going to be having the Department of Social Services as well as CANIPA, the St. Kitts and Nevis Youth Parliament Association. And they are going to be talking about moving the age of consent from 16 to 18. No doubt they're going to tell us the pros and the cons. And tune in. They're going to be here tomorrow morning. And thank you for listening. As I slip away, please be responsible. If you're driving, don't drink. If you're drinking, don't drive, because the life you save or the life you take might be yours and or your loved one or loved ones. You have to drive to arrive alive. And if you're not patient, you will become a patient. And always be positive in your thoughts, in your words, and in your actions. Thank you. See you tomorrow, Godspeed.
Found the sound. 98.9. Win FM.
It's the energy of we people, something pulsing inside. It beating every soul, a feeling we cannot. It's always pushing us forward, the limit up in the sky. There's rhythm in how we flow, a rhythm that can't be denied. It's in the feeling in how we talk. It's in the meaning in our spot. It is the thing that sets us apart. Who we are, 'cause the rhythm of life keeps bumping. Together going strong, no matter what, we keep things flowing. The people, we will go all in. Our hands up in the sky, celebrate and come let your rhythm flow, flow, flow.
Come, build with us at Hostels Building and Nevis Centers. We don't just sell materials, we help you build your dreams. Whether it's a new home, a renovation, or a DIY project, we're here to make it happen. That's why we say, build with us. From foundation to finish, come to our stores where we have the best in building materials, hardware, tools, paints, expert advice, and more. Whatever you need, you can count on us. So if you're ready to get started, build with us. With Hostels Building and Nevis Centers, you're not just building a structure, you're building a future. Let us help you create something amazing. Dream with us, plan with us, grow with us, build with us. Come build with us at Hostels Building and Nevis Centers today. Build with us at Hostels.
What are you doing?
She said, drink a root boy, I will do the work. You don't have to wind up yourself. You don't have to wind up yourself. Oh, she said, drink a root boy, I will do the work. You don't have to wind up yourself. You don't have to wind up yourself. Oh, cause when we out and we active living we life. So when we drink, we be drinking. Root boy. So when we drink, we be drinking. Root boy. Oh, Miss Lady, anyway you see we are we building up our vibes. So when we drink, we be drinking. Root boy. So when we drink, we be drinking. Root boy. Why?
If you need protection, you need one who you can trust to secure your investment. You need one who'll do you just. TDC Insurance, you're the one that you can trust. TDC Insurance, you're always safe with us.
TDC Insurance is your go-to insurance company for all your insurance needs. We take pride in offering you the best solutions and ensuring our customers are fully satisfied. TDC Insurance, we take good care of you, guaranteeing you peace of mind. You're always safe with us.